Welcome to Inside Games, the only gaming news show brave enough to hit our release dates.
Yep, every Wednesday and Friday like clockwork. Talking about video games is way easier than actually making them, though. Should disclose that, as Bethesda did what we could all feel in our bones: delay Starfield.
We all knew it. I've been saying it for months. And they delayed Redfall.
Delay what now?
Redfall, you know, it's that game with the four co-op thing.
You mean Red Wall? The book about the mice that stab each other? And it's pretty metal. Actually, cool book.
Now I don't know what you're talking about. Bethesda relayed the unfortunate but expected news on May 12th with a tweet covering the usual bases. Both Starfield and Redfall are now expected in the first half of 2023, with the given reason being that the teams, quote, want to ensure that you receive the best, most polished versions of them.
So weird from Bethesda. Sure.
Yeah, right.
And, you know, game delays rarely happen to make games worse, so this reasoning kind of makes sense. Tweet goes on to thank us for our excitement about these two projects and concludes by alluding to the, quote, first deep dive into the gameplay for both Redfall and Starfield soon.
I'm sure that's referring to the Xbox and Bethesda Games Showcase, scheduled for June 12th, exactly 1 month from now. From the sounds of it, we are in store for some actual gameplay from both of these games, which I'm very excited about.
Redfall kind of makes sense to me, but Starfield could be anything, so I'm really excited to see that one too. That's right, Starfield and Redfall. Everyone remembers both those games. Everyone remembers Redfall specifically, the open-world immersive shooter from Arcane Austin that was announced at E3 2021. That game was supposed to launch in summer 2022, which is right around the corner. Likewise, the E3 2021 presentation for Starfield announced a release date of November 11th. 11/11 worked for Skyrim, but not going to work for Starfield, unfortunately.
The natural question now is, why? From a number of perspectives. Why announce dates for games before they can reliably be hit? We see this over and over and over. Why delay it now? Why not on June 12th? Why hasn't Todd Howard accepted my Discord friend request?
Maybe he didn't see it. Maybe if you delete it and send it again, maybe it'll just right to the top of the pile.
That's what it is. As usual in life, we do not have all the answers, but we are games journalists or enthusiasts, whatever you want to call us. So we can make up some stuff so we sound like we actually know what we're talking about.
So there are a few industry-wide factors that might make game development more volatile right now than it has been in the past, not to mention a few issues specifically affecting Xbox and Bethesda that could influence this delay.
For starters, anyone that's played a Bethesda game in the past knows they pretty much all could have used another 6 months in the oven. Absolutely. Most of Bethesda Game Studios' open world RPGs are super glitchy.
But I pray they let me attend.
And crash prone at launch. An issue largely forgiven by players thanks to the quality of the games. Aside from that, and the fact that, man, these glitches are fucking hilarious. I love Bethesda glitches so much.
Yeah, it's kind of sad that we may not get a bevy of glitch videos.
Oh, Lawrence, we're gonna get a ton. I can't wait.
Yeah, we are. You're right. It's weird because, I don't know, everybody's comparing this to Cyberpunk as well. I thought the Cyberpunk glitches were funny. I thought they were solidly in that, like, Bethesda funny window, but somehow they were way more offensive for people, so... But that might be part of it. People may be done with laughing at broken games instead of mocking them. And Bethesda has certainly tested that patience with 2018's Fallout 76. That's a game that, you know, not only launched with the usual Bethesda smattering of glitches, but also a severe lack of in-game content. That's usually the thing Bethesda games over-deliver on, just way too much stuff. So you're like, it breaks every now and then, but there's 4,000 quests. So after the Fallout 76 backlash, it's easy to see why Bethesda may be way more cautious than usual with the state of their games at launch.
Well, similar logic could be at play with Xbox as a whole. Remember that Bethesda is now part of Xbox Game Studios, and along with that, its games are now part of Game Pass. That service is likewise recovering from a community backlash thanks to the incomplete launch of our old friend Master Chief, Halo Infinite. You know that Master Chief just had sex. Did you know that?
I heard that. Yeah, he got his hog road. I thought he was supposed to be... Wasn't he sterilized? He's like way too good at killing aliens to also be good at fucking. They had to take one of them away.
Well, Lawrence, I don't want to spoil the whole series, but there are reasons why it makes sense why he fell in love and had sex. All right, just let him have sex, Lawrence. Just let Master Chief have sex.
He's not supposed to be. He's supposed to be killing aliens and grunting.
You're right. Maybe he can do all those things. Sea of Thieves and Grounded also launched in kind of a weird early access state, so Xbox might be sensitive to Game Pass, gaining a reputation for releases that are not ready for prime time just yet.
Especially if you compare it with Sony, who kind of, their entire brand is these huge single-player, impeccably polished games. that just that launched to wine sniffing and finger snaps all around. But for fairness' sake, we should acknowledge Forza Horizon 5 and Psychonauts 2 were both amazing content-complete games that launched in Game Pass. I think we said we're just tossing ideas here.
Microsoft ownership is probably responsible for the new release window, though. The latest trend in game delays is to slip from the end-of-year holiday window to March. This is largely owing to most companies' fiscal years running from April to March. So as long as you get the revenue from a game launch in the same fiscal year you forecasted, at least you don't miss forecasts for the investors, the all-important investors.
Yeah, there's a lot of audiences to please if you're a game developer. You got your employees, your investors, and the audience, and often we only consider ourselves with the last one. But different from that cycle, Microsoft's fiscal year runs from July to June, meaning that as long as Starfield and Redfall ship before June, Microsoft still gets the revenue and Game Pass growth in the fiscal year they were forecasting.
Wow, we might have to wait till June of 2023 to play Starfield?
They already said first half. That's exactly what that is. So yeah, the answer is yes.
That hurts. Apart from that, there are a few factors affecting every single video game company right now. One of the biggest is that there's more scrutiny than ever on crunch conditions by press and enthusiast groups. So thanks to that pressure, delaying a few months is probably the more attractive option compared to an expose on Kotaku and angry messages from internet activists.
That makes our jobs harder, Bruce, though. We need drama, we need controversy, we need clickable headlines. Crunch avoidance combines with another industry issue that Bruce and I have been hearing about more and more from developers that we talk to. A labor shortage. You've probably heard that in other industries. Turns out games are not immune. They're an industry just like any other. The 2020 surge of money into the games industry has led to tons of investment, which has then led to tons of new studios opening up with new projects that have been greenlit. This has created a huge premium on talent, with many companies struggling to find qualified hires to fill out these new development teams.
We've actually heard as much from developers in a few different studios. Even Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick mentioned difficulty in securing talent in his interview with GamesBeat, although that was more for the future tech stuff like AI and machine learning. It is possible that Bethesda announced a November 2022 release date for Starfield, anticipating that they'd be able to hire at the same rate they have been, and that talent stretch, the lack of talent in the industry, may have slowed that down.
Yeah, that's the thing. From our perspective, it's frustrating to have developers announce a release date, and then you want to say like, well, why would you even say the number if you weren't 100% sure that you could hit it? Well, maybe they were. Maybe they were 100% sure based on all the factors and the conditions at the time, but it's a chaotic world and it's only getting more chaotic, so things change out from under you and plans have to change accordingly. Whether a talent crunch is actually leading to this delay, at least we can rest a little easier knowing that it won't just extend the crunch that may already be going on. NoClip's Danny O'Dwyer shared that from his perspective, Bethesda is one of the good ones, saying, quote, staff went home on time and I've never heard stories of mad crunch.
But now with Starfield, Breath of the Wild 2 both delayed out of 2022 this year, what the hell's left? Like, what is going on? We've got Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, which I am pretty positive it's going to hit its release date. God of War Ragnarok, which I think that one's getting delayed. Saints Row? Yeah, all right. Yeah, that's why not? Splatoon 3. What do you think? Do you think that's coming out, Lawrence?
Nintendo doesn't, well, they just delayed Zelda, but Splatoon is their holiday release. So I think because of Splatoon 3, they didn't need to have two huge first-party releases this holiday. Breath of the Wild 2 was probably the one that was the safer delay. So I think Splatoon's going to hit, mostly just because they've already delayed the other one.
What about Bayonetta?
Yeah, they haven't shown anything for Bayonetta yet. I think because they haven't shown or said anything, it's also a safe game to delay. Whether or not it will delay is another story. It would be an interesting fall if they had both, if Nintendo Switch as a platform had both Bayonetta 3 and Splatoon 3. That would mean it probably has the best exclusives this holiday, which would be a pretty dark horse and a good ride for Nintendo.
We've also got Forspoken, which I'm pretty sure is also going to get pushed, because we've only seen a little bit from that, and people are kind of like, it's a new IP. It doesn't matter if it hits now or later or whatever. And then Gotham Knights, which people are already showing. I think there's like gameplay video going around, screenshots and stuff. And that's supposed to come out fall, is that right?
Yeah, sometime this fall, I think. October 25th is the release date, sorry. Yeah, Gotham Knights is a weird one, because the footage they released did not, like, intentionally didn't deal with the one concern I have, which is that multiplayer beat-em-ups usually don't work. All of the players were very well behaved when they were showing co-op. Nobody hit the same enemy at the same time, and other players would just kind of back off when another player was showing something off. It was a very E3 stage demo. But the reality is, like, I just keep going back to Marvel's Avengers, which was kind of a broken game. But even mechanically, if you have a multiplayer beat 'em up, you just get 4 people cluttered around one dude just punching the shit out of him. And then he's glitching all over the place because multiplayer latency makes it tough. Now, Gotham Knights has melee and ranged characters, so I think they understood that problem pretty early on. But even still, I think in practice that game's going to be pretty messy and hard to sell. Based off of gameplay. We'll see.
Yeah, I agree. So I feel like a delay is probably in the cards for that game. Also, Hogwarts Legacy. People are saying that game's coming out this year, and I have been saying for as long as I knew the game was coming out this year that there's no way that game's coming out this year. And I actually just read an article recently, a few days ago, saying that there are rumors it's getting pushed to 2023. So I would be very surprised if we got Harry Potter anytime this year.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's a hot window to hit either. So why push it if you don't have to?
And a game that Lawrence and I cannot wait for, Earth Defense Force 6. There's no way that's getting delayed, right? We're getting that this year, right?
It has to. Absolutely has to.
All right.
The EDF always deploys, Bruce. Always on time.
Always on time.
Except it's going to be only on PlayStation, which sucks. That means it's going to run like ass. It always does, man. Even on a PS5, it's going to run at like 10 frames a second, but it's still going to be awesome.
Our gamer gut is kind of telling us we have not seen the last game delayed out of 2022, with the labor shortage likely to be the driving reason for this whole thing.
Yeah, so the question is, what do you think will be delayed? We kind of just went over what we think. Yeah, I think delaying Bayonetta 3 and Gotham Knights is a pretty safe bet. And yeah, Forspoken, I don't know, Square is not shy about delaying things when they need to be delayed. So, I don't know. One way or the other, though, like, I don't have a whole lot of tears if 2022 ends up being a dry season, you know? I got a backlog a mile wide, and also primarily game on PC, and every week there's something new out. It may not be, you know, the next biggest franchise with a 3 on the end, but there's always something new to play. So, yeah, even though it might be tempting to call this a drought year, it's absolutely not. There's still things every week, all the time.
But for the console warriors, Lawrence, they got Modern Warfare 2, and that's about it. So they're going to be playing a lot of COD. Here are some patrons that would never delay on us. Kyle Heaton, Wookie Titty, The Creatures with Nerds Brews Gaming, Aaron Fraze, and Crab Foam.
So I got a few more patrons whose support is always bug-free. Without patches, no less. Christopher Glavin, Rook, Sean McLaughlin, Charles Gard, and Matt. Thank you very much for the support. Really appreciate it.
Lawrence, I can't wait to buy my copy of COD, Modern Warfare 2. Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm going to line up at GameStop like old time's sake. I'm going to get my Mountain Dew. I'm going to, let's see here, what else happened in like 2008? I'm going to be listening to a Killers album. I'm going to get like weird swoopy hair, like Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Actually, that might be a little too early.
We're going to listen to My Chemical Romance so much. I'm going to go to the MCR show after I buy COD at GameStop.
We're so old. That's fine. At least we get to play Modern Warfare 2 4 times before we die.